Elisabeth and I'm a parent coach, and I'm passionate about helping parents have a more joyful, less stressful relationship with their children. Often I do this through storytelling, and so today I'm going to tell you my wallet story. This is a true story. Everything I'm about to say actually happened about 10 years ago in the small town I live in upstate New York. I was grocery shopping, headed to a camping trip at my local food co-op, and I was standing in the vestibule. My wallet was in my shopping cart, and I got ready to go into the co-op, and my phone rang. So I left my cart because it's a really safe spot, and I left the vestibule and took my phone call, and I was watching my cart the whole time. But when I walked back inside the vestibule, I looked down at the shopping cart and my wallet wasn't there, and I was shocked. I thought someone just turned it in. So I walked into the customer service desk and I said, "Did someone turn in a purple and red wallet?" And they said no. And I was very surprised. But they said they'd had a lot of theft in that area and they had installed surveillance cameras. So we went and we watched the surveillance camera. And as I walked away from my cart, a woman who was hanging signs on the bulletin board reached over and grabbed my wallet. I saw it on the surveillance camera and walked out of the co-op. And I was shocked. So the people at the co-op who worked there said, "Are you going to call the police?" And I said, "No, I'm going to call the person who was hanging the poster." So I went over to the poster and it said, "House Cleaning by Sam." And so it had her phone number on the bottom of the poster. So they said, "Who are you calling, the police?" And I said, "No, I'm calling Sam." So I dialed the number, and as I was dialing it, I thought to myself, what am I going to say? This person stole my wallet. What would I say? And instead of wondering what to say, instead what I did was I reached into my heart and soul, and I found my way to the place inside Sam's heart and soul. She cleans houses. She does not want someone to steal her wallet. And I attuned myself to that place in her. And as the phone rang and rang again, and someone said, "Hello," I said, "Is this Sam?" And she said, "Yes." And this is what came out of me. I said, "Sam, you found my wallet." And she hesitated a moment and she said, "Yes, I found your wallet." And I said, "Where are you?" And literally I thought maybe she's at the police department turning in my wallet. I thought that of her, that she didn't steal it. She was trying to help me. And I think she felt that in the phone call. And she said, "I'm at the bank." Now, next to our food co-op, there's a red bank and a green bank. And so I asked her, "Are you at the red bank or the green bank?" And she said, "I'm at the green bank." And I said, "Thanks, I'll be right there." And I hung up the phone. And the people who work at the co-op said, "Are you going to call the police?" They just kept asking me that. And I said, "No, I'm going to the green bank." So I marched across the parking lot and I walked into the green bank. Now I shop at that bank all the time. And so they know me there very well. And they thought I would get at the end of the line like a customer. But instead, I walked to where Sam was standing with the teller. She had my purple and red wallet in her hands, and she was handing the $200 in cash that I had in my wallet to the teller. I walked right up to her as if I knew her, which I did not, and I scooped up the money and put it in the wallet. And I said, "Thank you, Sam, for finding my wallet." And she said again, this time with a little more confidence, "Yes, I found your wallet." She was telling herself that. And the teller looked very confused. And then the most amazing thing happened. I was turning to leave the bank with my wallet and my $200, and she stopped me and she hugged me. And I have never known why she hugged me, except I think she was just deeply grateful that instead of accusing her of what was true, that she had stolen my wallet, instead I offered her grace. I offered her a path back to being right. And we became attuned in that moment. She would not want someone to steal her wallet. She doesn't want to be a person who steals a wallet. And I just wanted my wallet back, and I got my wallet back. But the reason I tell that story, and every time I tell it, people are so surprised that I did not want to get Sam in trouble. When I walked back to the food co-op, they said, "Are you going to call the police?" They asked me that again. And I said, "No." What I know from working with children for so many years is that children, when they make a mistake, either intentional or unintentional, we as the adults in their lives need to offer them a path back. They want to come back. They want to be in relation to us. They know they've made a mistake, whether they meant to make it or not. And they feel it and they know. And they don't need us to tell them, "You made a mistake, you screwed up." That's not what they need from us. They need us as adults to build a bridge back into relation with us, to know that they are unconditionally loved and that even though they made a mistake, even something as significant as stealing a wallet, they can be brought back into relation with us. The phrase I often use when working with children and with parents is, "Let go of being right in favor of being relational." The big arc of your relationship with your child is what matters so much more than being right in that moment. Another thing I always tell parents is, as hard as it is, try never to say, "I told you so." Kids know what you said. They know you said, "Take a coat on a cold day." They know you said, "Remember your soccer shoes," and they forgot. They don't need you to say, "I told you to take your soccer shoes. I knew if you didn't bring your coat, you'd be cold." They already know that. Let the lesson of life be the teacher. Let the natural consequence be what teaches your child to maybe listen to you next time, or to listen to their own voice and be willing to take the consequence for the decisions they make. And you, as their parent, then get to be in the role of providing a path back, of being attuned, of empathizing with your child. They don't want to make that mistake. They don't want to get a bad grade or forget their soccer shoes. And the consequence of forgetting soccer shoes at a soccer game is enough of a teacher. And it may take many times, more times than a parent is comfortable with, but eventually, if you are attuned to your child and you are on their team and you're there to support them and empathize when they make mistakes, they will continue to want to be in relation to you. I'm going to give you parents a gift. Every time your child says something, especially something that you know it was very hard for them to tell you, here's what you say every time: "I'm glad you told me." And then just wait. "Mom, I got in a fight at school today. I'm glad you told me." And wait. And what they're thinking is, she's glad I told her. I got in a fight at school today, and all she's saying is, "I'm glad you told me." Because the big arc of "I'm glad you told me" is so much more important than that fight. Obviously, your kid lived through the fight. They've walked home, they've gotten off the bus, and there's plenty of time to talk about the fight. But the big moment when it was so hard to tell you that, "I got in a fight at school, I'm glad you told me." And then just pause. And if they say something, listen. And when my son told me that, he didn't say anything after that. And I said, "How are you doing? What was it like?" And he said, "It really hurt a lot." And I said, "I bet. Do you need anything? Do you need ice? Are you okay?" So I just attuned. What do you need from me? And then as we talked about it some more, I said, "Do you need a bigger toolkit? Do you need some advice about what to do the next time you feel like punching a kid at school? Do you need me to call a teacher or the principal or the parents? Is there anything you need from me to, make this right?" And he said, "No, I think that my buddy and I are okay." And I said, "Well, just let me know." And I ended, what do you think I said at the end? "I'm glad you told me." And so the next time it was time to tell me something hard, it was a couple of years later, my son went to a school party. And I said, I'm nervous. I'm nervous there's no adults at the party. There's going to be drinking at the party. What if your cell phone doesn't work?" All the things. I said all the things. And he said, "Mom, there's going to be cell service. I'm not going to drink too much. It's okay." And he went to the party. And when he came home from the party, he said, "Mom, it was terrible. The cops got called. There was no cell service. I ended up in the back of a car with a kid who puked on my shoes, and I thought he was going to die, and I was so scared." And what do you think I said? "I'm glad you told me." Because even though I didn't want any of those things to happen, the most important thing was to me that my child would tell me that that happened. And the reason he would tell me that happened is because he knew, absolute confidence, I was not going to say, "I told you so." Even though I had told him so, I didn't need to say it. He knows what I told him, and exactly what I told him happened, which is so common because we've had these experiences and we're passing on our experiences to our kids. But if I say "I told you so," I miss that opportunity to provide a path back and stay in relation to my child. And I give him every reason in the world not to tell me what really happened. Worst of all, to lie to me about what happened. If he thought I was going to tell you "I told you so," or take away a privilege or get him in trouble, he would not tell me what happened at the party. He would hide it. He would lie about it. And instead, because he told me and because I said, "I'm glad you told me," he tells me things. What I've learned over my more than 40 years of working with children is when parents set up win-lose scenarios with children, everyone loses. Even if in the moment you as the parent win, you've lost. You've lost the bigger battle of relationship with your child. When your child is vulnerable and admits a mistake, If you as the parent decide to win in that moment, you are going to lose in your overall relationship with your child. They will shut down. They will start hiding things from you. They will not want to tell you the truth about things. They will start to drift in relation to you. And as they get older, they will move to peers. And they will start telling peers what really matters to them. And they'll only be their real true self around their peers because they can't be their real true self around you. This is so important, parents. When we unconditionally love the child we actually have, that means there are no conditions on our love. They will make mistakes. We make mistakes. We are human beings. We make mistakes. And actually, when we make mistakes, it's our greatest opportunity to learn and grow. So when your child makes a mistake, a big one, an intentional one, a small one, an unintentional one, look for ways to celebrate that mistake. Your child is learning, they are stretching, they are growing, they are becoming their true self. And that is a gift in your life. Learn from your children, welcome opportunities to sit down with them and talk about how did that go? What did you learn? What might you do differently next time? And you know what, adults, parents, you might learn that what you thought was a big mistake turns out to work great for your child. I'm so glad I didn't have my coat with me because I didn't want to drag that thing around and I wasn't cold, Mom. We can learn and we can be wrong as well as being right. And in either case, keep the big arc of your relationship with your child. Let go of win-lose scenarios and look for win-win opportunities to be in relation with your child. When my younger son went to school for the first time, he was in 7th grade. Up until then, we had homeschooled. About 9 weeks into his first semester in middle school, a letter came in the mail and it said, "To the parents of," and it listed my son's name. Well, I'm his parent, and so the letter was to me, so I opened it. I thought it was about some fundraiser or, I don't know, a field trip. It was his grades, and I was appalled. They are his grades. I should not be sent his grades. So I put the grades back in the envelope and I taped it shut and I crossed off "To the parents of," and so on the table it just was a letter addressed to my son. And when he got home from school, I said, "There's mail for you on the kitchen table." And he opened it up and he said, "These are my grades. Don't you want to see them?" And I said, "Listen to what you just said. My grades. Those are your grades. They have nothing to do with me." This is really important, parents. We need to help our children not feel evaluated by us. My love for my son is not conditional on him making good grades. It's not even conditional on him doing his best. He could not do his best. He could make bad grades. He knows I would still love him. He would be disappointed in himself, believe me. He makes excellent grades. He does it for himself because he wants to do his best. He wants to get the grade that he knows he can earn, but he doesn't do it to please me because my love is not conditional on him getting good grades. Parents, when we evaluate our children and they feel like our love for them is conditional on winning a soccer game, continuing to play violin, making good grades, being social, staying off screen time as long as we think they ought to, when our love is conditional on their outcomes, children suffer and our relationship with them suffers. They stop even knowing who they are, and it's hard for them to unconditionally love themselves. So our job as parents is to stay in connection with our children as they get older and to love them for who they are becoming and to support them to become themselves and to love themselves unconditionally. There's no greater gift we can give our children than for us to love them unconditionally and for them to love themselves for who they actually are, mistakes and all. And that's how children will grow and become themselves. And that's how we end the intergenerational cycle of conditional love. Maybe you, parent, were conditionally loved by your parent. You have the gift of being able to unconditionally love yourself for exactly who you are. Maybe you're someone who would steal a wallet and learn from it. And you can unconditionally love yourself for who you are and pass that gift on to your children. It's the greatest gift we can give our children. Dr. Charles Rayson says, one generation of unconditionally loving parents would change the brain of a generation, and with that, the world. Thank you for watching this video. If you have parents in your life who you think could learn something, please pass it on to them. This is the first in a series of parent coaching videos that I'm going to be making, so you can visit my YouTube channel. You can look at my website, purposeparenting.net, and I love to be on your parenting journey with you and to be a part of your parenting team.